If you want to run fast or jump far, you need foundations. In this video, I'm going to show you drills and numerous progressions as to how you can develop a young jumper and young sprinter. The video features 15-year-old Adela, who's an aspiring triple jumper. Now, she's only been doing the event for a couple of months, so she's ideal for assessment and for me to use her as an example to show you just how you can develop your specific skills, the basic skills for jumping and sprinting. Remember that the foundations will be with you for the rest of your career, so it's crucial that you really act on them now and develop them. First up, it's some sprint drills. Drill number 1 is hands on hips, heel recovery, and the objective is to rotate the heel from the back of the body to the front. This engages the posterior chain, the glutes and the hamstrings in particular, and that's something that often young athletes are unable to do. Although the next drill is aimed at the triple jump, it's of value to all power athletes. The objective is to lift the thigh to parallel and then extend out the lower leg, keeping the foot up in preparation for what would be a strong ground contact. Very important, as with the previous drill, to develop the hip complex. Young athletes need a foundation of basic strength and specific strength at that as well. It's far better with young athletes to develop specific movement patterns with specific exercises rather than going general and doing squats and press-ups, for example, albeit those could potentially give some foundation. I found it much better to develop that foundation much more specifically with the types of drills that you're seeing now. The slow lower eccentric squat is one of the exercises that I regularly use. As you can see, the objective is to lower slowly from one leg and then push up. So we're learning to control movement and develop stability and balance at the same time. Being able to absorb a force before returning it is crucial. So that's why we do these types of movements, and they are the basis of strength training for my young athletes. Next up, it's the elbow to ankle lunge with a heel rotation when you transfer from lunge to lunge. This exercise will really mobilize the spine, stretch it out, and develop a degree of strength endurance as well as the repetitions are completed over 15 to 20 meters. Next up, we've got a walking scissor drill. And the objective is to lift the leg and then bring each one down alternately, keeping the toes up, working on that strong foot contact. Don't lean back, use the arms in a running style movement and be strong in the hip complex. Here we've got a single side march, and the objective is to draw the heel up to the bottom, keeping it quite close in as you do so, i.e. that's with the heel in towards the hamstring. So again, we're trying to engage the posterior chain. Thigh then gets to parallel and then it's driven back down into the track. Again, young athletes can have difficulty with that heel recovery motion, and that is something that I in particular spotted with Adela, which I'll say more of later. After these basic drills, we move on to more dynamic ones. And the ankling stroke calf drill is a great one to bridge the gap. This drill requires the athlete to rise and fall across their feet and use their ankles. It doesn't place a lot of strain on the hamstrings at all, for example. So it's great to be able to utilize this one to get more dynamic, to potentiate the subsequent activities. With Adela, we wanted her to use her arms more as they were very restricted. So this drill is a great one for enabling that. Next, we've got a series of combination drills. The first of which combines the calf drill with a low leg cycle. So the objective is to do an ankling calf drill and then switch to the cycling movement. This will give the athlete a feeling of how they should present their feet to the ground, particularly on the cycle. So the toes must be drawn upwards. The calf drill will have a softer contact, whereas the cycle drill will have a much more firmer one, as the toes are held up into ground contact. That's something again that young athletes can suffer from, not holding their feet up when they are sprinting and doing various plyometric drills. Next up, we have the scissor-cycle combination drill, and that requires somewhat obviously a series of scissors to be followed by a series of cycles, followed by scissors, followed by cycles. Again, the key thing for the young athlete is learning how to impart force into the ground through a strong foot position. And the drill is also working the hip complex, which again is crucial. Don't neglect the hips, as I say in many of my videos. They are the axles around which the legs spin. Next, it was a combination of alternate skips and cycles. This is quite an involved drill to master, and it took Adela a little while to get to grips with it. Again, it's all about strong foot contacts and utilizing the hips to generate power and propulsive forces. All these drills, and I've many more, are crucial for sprinting and jumping. They are the foundations, they are the jigsaw pieces which when put together will complement the full sprinting action and jumping actions for long and triple jump, for example. Make sure they are performed crisply and optimally. I've found that many young athletes don't know how to utilize their arms correctly when sprinting, and indeed their posture can suffer because of the arm action. In Adela's case, her arms were very short, and I subsequently discovered that she'd been a distance runner, so she had got used to using an economical running action. In order to combat that, there are a number of drills that I employed. You're seeing one now whereby before she starts to run, she moves her arms on the spot and then moves into the running action, running up to about 80 to 90%. So she's sown the seeds into her mind of the necessary movement of the arms, and that did then transfer into her running. It's going to take more time than 1 or 2 sessions. Lastly, it's one of my favorite drills. In fact, if I had to recommend one drill for a young athlete, everything else being equal, it will be this one. And that is to utilize a lightweight bar to run with. Of course, you can perform numerous other drills with the bar, but sprinting with it or running up to about 80 to 90% with it will pay huge dividends. It will teach postural awareness and postural control, and of course it will get the torso to be really straight on the hips, which is crucial for maximum velocity running and when you come into the board for the long and triple jump. To start, hold the bar at arm's length parallel to the ground, accelerate away with an angled torso, and then lift the bar to overhead. As I've said, the focus of this video is on the key foundational movements for young sprinters and jumpers, and I've only shown you a small percentage of the types of drills that I do. They are to be done with repetition, i.e. many times, in order to strengthen and teach the required movements for sprinting and jumping. If you'd like to take your coaching to a higher level, then do consider becoming a coach athlete member of the channel. Head over to the channel's homepage and click on the membership button. Basically, there are over 40 videos at the time of making this video, and they deep dive into the various subject matter which will improve you as a coach, notably how to program workouts, how to program training phases, and how to utilize various periodization models. And of course, do like and subscribe, and feel free to share this video with your fellow athletes and coaches. Looking for a really fast training shoe that thinks it's a spike, then check out the Antiques Muscle Runners. They've got a carbon fiber plate which propels you forward, springs you out of the contact and adds to the velocity. They've also got TPU foam specifically placed in order to assist with toe off and encouraging a forefoot sprinting motion. A couple of my group members have been trialing them and they are full of praise. Indeed, Abraham and Daniel are number 2 in the country in their respective age groups, and they have attributed some of their success to the Antiques Muscle Runners. Check out the link in the video description or my video that I made which goes into detail on the Antiques. You can also get a 10% discount from the link in the video description.